Hi, this is Ryan. I'm back. I think it's been a week since I uploaded my last video. For this video, we'll be talking about pronouns. Please allow me to share my screen. So after nouns, I have dedicated 2 videos on nouns. Now we're going to go to your pronouns. What are pronouns? Pronouns are words that are used to substitute for nouns. Basically, we can say that the existence of pronouns are totally reliant upon nouns. Pronouns exist because of their nouns. Here are examples of the pronouns: he, she, it, they, them, we, our, anyone, something, no one, several, etc. Like nouns, pronouns have different classification. Its major classification is what we call personal pronouns. Personal pronouns are words that are associated with a certain person, thing, or group. It's personal pronoun because it's composed of 3 persons: the first person, the second person, and the third person. The first person is the one who's talking, the one who's speaking. And the second person is somebody you're talking to. And the third person is somebody you are talking about. So examples of personal pronouns are here: I, you, he, she, we, they, them. We have an example here. Rico is doing great in passing. I will support him all the way. If you noticed, him is italicized because him is dependent on the noun Vico. And since Vico is the basis of your pronoun, we call Vico as your antecedent. So personal pronouns work well with antecedents. They depend on the noun prior to them, the noun they are referring to. And that noun that they are referring to is actually your antecedent. Let's go to your demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns are words that are used to point to something specific within a sentence. So there are only 4 demonstrative pronouns: this, these, that, and those. So when we say this, it's singular, and we're talking about a nearby object. When we say these, it's plural, and we're talking about nearby objects or nearby nouns. But when we say that, we are talking about a remote or distant noun, which is singular, and those we talk about distant, far away nouns, which is plural. No example here: I love this photo, meaning the photo, singular, and the photo is just within your reach. These stickers are pretty. So plural, stickers, and they are within your reach. Those plates on the table are fragile. So the plates are far and they're plural. That is not mine. We're talking about a noun or an object that is actually distant from you. Indefinite pronouns. Indefinite pronouns are pronouns or words that when we are actually referring to unspecified nouns, meaning we can't identify the nouns. That's why we're using indefinite pronouns. So the popular examples of indefinite pronouns are some, and each, Few, every, anybody, no one, everybody, all, something. Let's try to use them in a sentence. Everybody was late because of the traffic jam. Nobody knows which ways to San Jose. Just a few people attended the party. Reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns happen when both the subject and the object refer to the same thing. They end in self or selves. So, example, Vika loves himself dearly. Vico is a subject and himself is an object, but they refer to the same thing. They refer to Vico. Himself refers to Vico. Then he booked himself in an astounding resort. He is a subject, himself is the object, but both refer to the same thing. And lastly, they bought themselves some broccoli for dinner. They is a subject, themselves is an object, and both refer to one thing. Intensive pronouns are quite similar to reflexive pronouns, but the purpose of intensive pronouns is to emphasize the subject. That's why it's used for emphatic purposes. So I bought all these groceries myself. I am merely emphasizing that I was the one who bought the groceries. Did you yourself make that call? Yourself is merely used to emphasize you. Possessive pronouns. These pronouns show ownership. When we discuss nouns, nouns also have possessive nouns. So basically, what nouns have, pronouns also have, because they're basically inseparable. So we unlike nouns, now possessive nouns are so easy to identify because we're using a certain punctuation mark, the apostrophe. But for pronouns, we don't use that. There are dedicated pronouns which show ownership. And these are his, her, hers, our, them, their, it's, your, yours, mine, and mine. There are other sets of pronouns. Examples: this is his backpack. The backpack belonged to a certain male person. The students finished their presentation quite early. Of course, the presentation was made or was done by the students. And my gift will surely surprise him. So the gift is actually for a certain male person. Interrogative pronouns. These are pronouns that introduce questions. Very easy, right? So we have who, why, where, how, when, whose, which, etc. So examples: who deserves to lead the country in 2022? What is the purpose of your long stay in Minnesota? When do you expect him to arrive? So when you're asking questions, usually they are found in the beginning of every question. And lastly, we have relative pronouns. Relative pronouns, they are designed as to introduce additional information in a sentence, and they serve as connectors as well, connecting the relative clause and the independent clause. So examples of your relative pronouns are that, which, who, whom, whose. Let's try to look at the examples. Vito Soto, who's the mayor of Pasig City, spends his free time with Rian. So since the relative pronoun introduces the clause here is who is the mayor of Pasig City. And that particular clause provides additional information to Vico Soto. Because if you take away that clause, Vico Soto can be Vico Soto, who's the son of showbiz personalities or something like that. But because here we indicated that we are talking about Vico Soto, who is actually the mayor of Pasig City. Next example, this cat that I adopted a few years back has learned to sleep beside me at night. So that I adopted a few years back is a clause, and that is a relative pronoun. That clause provides additional information to your cat because that cat who's sleeping beside you at night was the one you actually adopted a few years back. So that's basically the purpose of your relative pronouns. They provide additional information to a certain noun that is found in your sentence. So basically, those are your pronouns. Next meeting, we're going to go to your modifiers. That's quite interesting. I hope that you keep on helping me grow this channel by subscribing to my channel and always hitting the bell button so that you can be informed of the next coming video. Also, please don't forget to like my video. Bye bye. See you then.